Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is Simon,
And Steve.
and we are the Whales of Wall Street. Welcome to another video. First and foremost, thank you to all the subscribers. If you have not subscribed yet, shame on you. Press the subscribe button. We want to get to the 500, and I'm sure you do as well.
Also, smash the like button as well, because we'd like to see a lot of thumbs up on these videos.
Oh, I love the thumbs up. Absolutely. Let's get into this one, mate. We are going to have a conversation around whether or not it is still a good time to invest in crypto as of today, or certainly around this period of time.
Yeah. Before we get into it, do remember that we're not financial advisors and all of our opinions are purely our own. And what we talk about is in reference to what we're doing. Obviously, always advise doing your own research and don't invest what you can't afford to lose.
Awesome. Really good point there, so we don't get in trouble. So, Steve, now let's talk about this. So, I think one of the key aspects of this right now is we were perhaps prone to this when we first started investing, comparisons to previous years, laughing about how much tokens were at that point in time. And we're sort of sat in a stage right now where we've made a bit of a recovery on the loss that we had over the last 2.5 months or so. And people, I've seen many videos, I've seen many comments on Twitter and things like that about, is this still a good time to investing? Have I missed the boat? What's your answer, Steve? What do you think?
Yes and no. So the reason I say yes is that if you wanted them at certain prices, you have missed it. They're not going to go there again. A lot of these projects have far surpassed that price that they will never touch where you and I were buying them 6-7 months ago. And when we talk about losses, we don't necessarily mean losses, we mean losses of gains.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we may have been in the red for a very small period of time, but mostly been in the black throughout this entire part of the bull run, even through those kind of mini bear dips. But I still think it is a good time to get in at this point, because no matter which one you choose to go for, whether that be one of the big boys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you want to go into things like XRP, Cardano, even Dogecoin maybe, is that they will be higher in price or in value in 4 to 5 years time.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if you were to buy XRP now at $1.20 and next week it went down to 60 cents and stayed there, in 5 years time it will come back up again. It's a patience game.
Absolutely. And there's a couple of other factors as well when making decisions about what you're going into. Don't always look at the price and the market cap and things like this, because it's ultimately about the project, what they stand for. Of course, there's things like regulation coming in, massive conversations recently, and I'm sure over the next year or so we will see substantial movement in that space, and it will purely be the fundamental projects out there that will take us forward in this space. There's, what are we seeing here, over, I think, over 11,000 crypto assets out there now. When we were first joining, and we were late to the party, if you think about it, when it originally started maybe 10 years ago, when we were looking at this sort of 7-8 months ago, or maybe in a bit longer, that was only around sort of 7,000. So there's a lot more coming to the table, a lot more new projects that will arguably in the future take over the ones that we're seeing in perhaps even the top 10 right now.
Exactly. And we've always said that we want to, although our portfolios do have some rogue choices in there that we've maybe thought we'll get into and see what they do, the majority of our cash is put into what we like to call the fundamental coins, the ones that we believe in as a project that going forward actually have a use case, and therefore the company, the token, the coin should only increase in value.
Exactly that. And I think if you go along that principle and doing your own research, and of course look into influencers and other YouTubers like ourselves, of course, that operate in the format of giving you information, not shilling, not hyping up, but actually giving you fundamental information of updates of the project. That's where you're going to win this space. Of course, you have the traders out there that are happy to go with the tokens like Doge. I'm sorry to hate on that, but I just don't see the reality of those kind of things just yet. Change my opinion, let me know in the comments. But I think as long as you doing your own research and you're confident and comfortable with what's being told to you and understanding what's being told to you, you can't really go wrong.
And also it depends what your position is. If you want to, are you in this for the short term to make some quick capital, or do you see this as a long term investment where you're willing to put X amount of your money into this and just wait it out and see what happens? This is clearly going to earn you more as a percentage return than stocks and shares. But people get into stocks and shares and have them for 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
Maybe treat crypto in the same fashion of, if you're getting into a project, be willing to stay with it for the long haul.
Well, exactly. On the screen right now, actually, we've just got the, I think this is XRP, just double check. Oh no, it doesn't really matter which one it is. The point here is, for example, just on this alone in Cardano, the 1 year growth pattern is 1,300%. Can you imagine? Honestly, show me a bank or other assets in the stock market that can replicate this nonsense, right? And this is minimal, right? I've seen ones that are like 4,000, 5,000. We're talking about token assets that have been like less than a cent and have rocketed up to $10, $20. Rarible is one
Polygon
of the...
is a prime example. Polygon was 5 cents last year, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
And now it's sitting pretty at $1.50.
And what's mental is we're nowhere near skimming the surface. First of all, short term, but also long term. But in the short term, when we're talking about this run coming up that everyone's anticipating to end the end of this year or beginning of next year, who knows what that number could be? Like, we are so early in this now, let alone 10 years ago. Fair play to you guys that didn't think it was a scam like I thought it was when I was back at university and didn't listen to purchasing EOS, purchasing Bitcoin, because you're getting all these phone calls wondering what on earth you're talking about. Fair play to you guys for risking that and going into that. Now is another great opportunity. There's nothing to say in 24, 25 when the next potential run occurs that isn't too late either, because the actual principle of this for the next 100 years, if you took the first 10% of its life cycle, it's nothing. So there's plenty of opportunity.
100%. And it's anything. It's dollar cost averaging your way into a project. We're not saying you need to go and put your life savings into any particular project. It's, if you want to put £10 a week in, £20 a week in, whatever, if that would be a few pints or a couple of cups of coffee, whatever you can do without, put it into savings or put it into crypto assets. See what happens, because it doesn't matter. That money would have just been gone anyway. It had gone down your gullet. You might as well see if it can start making you some potentially life-changing money over the long term. Whether you end up riding this particular wave all the way down to the bottom and just simply waiting another 5 years, patience is a virtue, I think, when it comes to this game. In particular, your friend bought XRP at $2 to $3 in the last bull cycle at the very top. He's had to wait 4 years for it to now start trying to test those levels again.
Well, it's just about not necessarily analysing the charts yourself. Some people do understand them, some people don't. It's more of the principle of learning about how influencers work and the hype works. They always say, like, buy the rumour, sell the news. Well, a lot of people were buying in the news pattern and it was already at that top point. So like I said, do your own research, whether that be through a multitude of influences. Gather as much information as possible and make your own conclusion. Similar with life patterns as well and things like that. So there's no right or wrong way of doing things. Everyone has their own goal. Everyone has their own aspiration in this space. You might be short term, you might be long term. Me personally, I'm accumulating for the next run in a few years' time. But that doesn't mean that if I see something ridiculous, which I'm sure we're going to anticipate on a lot of the assets this year, I will have to do something about it, because one, I don't have to put as much money into it over these next few years, and two, it would be crazy not to.
So what I would say is, like, be smart. Don't sit with a big pile of gains in your crypto wallet and just go, nah, I'm good. I'll just see what happens in 4 years. We will do an exit strategy video at some point about what we plan to do, but take those gains, make use of them. You've earned them, And if you want to re-put it in, just wait. I've definitely been guilty of taking profit and then putting it right into another project straight away, and then seeing that go down, rather than just being patient, waiting for a dip, and then getting in and watching it rise.
Yeah.
Some projects lay dormant for months. You don't see any movement, and all of a sudden, boom.
Absolutely. And there's other factors as well. I'm really intrigued to know. Please do let us know in the comments how you're influenced by decisions of investing into projects, or your positions of buying and selling, because there's elements of like coin market cap. There's a lot of people just focus on, oh, it's the top 100, it's top 300. Like, this is all kind of really not relevant. It's all based on like market cap or whatever you choose to put as the sorting opportunity. So you can manipulate this table as much as you want, but there's things like here where we've both invested in like Veracity, things like that. They're all way down in like 300. Does that mean it's a terrible project because it's not in the top 100? Absolutely not.
No.
There's loads of different factors as to why, so don't pay too much attention to that.
Flip it on its head. Think about XDC. When we were getting into XDC, it was in the sort of 200 to 300 range on coin market cap.
Absolutely.
It now sits at what, 66?
Yeah, it's flying up the table. That is for sure one of the powerhouses. That is one of the true fundamentals, in my opinion. Will it get to top 10 this year? I don't know, but it's on course. But again, it's all about the research. Pay attention to what influences you're doing. There's a lot of hype videos out there. We don't want to do that in this channel on these videos. We'll always promote whether we've purchased them or not. I've done videos of ones that I don't have, but I believe in that project. The only reason either is because I don't want to spread my portfolio too thin.
Or you're waiting for a good entry position.
Exactly.
As well.
So we're always honest on that. So just pay attention to that when you're doing that. But I guess back to that whole point of is it a good time to invest? It's all back down to your opinion, your thought process of research, and not delving too much into the FOMO attitude of, oh, the influencer's talking about we must buy it now. Obviously do research on the chart, the positioning and everything like that, and you shouldn't go too wrong on that. And another point you made, Steve, as well, which is always a funny one. We always laugh at things when they were like 4 or 5 years ago. You were talking a minute ago before we started this video about Cardano versus like Ethereum. Like, talk us through like that, not necessarily the comparison of the projects because they are quite similar, but because of Cardano's sort of got more technological advances, the price points are slightly different, but that can mean anything in 5-10 years time, couldn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So with a project like Cardano, it has an ecosystem. There is so much going on the technicality side of that. It's very much still in its infancy. So we're seeing ridiculous growth in the space of a year. You pointed out earlier of over 1,000% growth in a year. Just think about when it's actually implemented and it's used. It has a use case on a daily basis for a lot of people in this world. It must only go up. XRP as well as a financial tool as well, with processing transactions. If banks decide to take that on, use it as a central digital currency, that's only going to impact the price of that as well. So even though they're sitting at $1.20 at the moment and Cardano is just over $2, 7 months ago Cardano was 16 cents.
And it's that principle as well. In the future, if someone said to you in Ethereum when it was £10, I mean, I got some Ethereum when it was £75 last year in the big drop because I thought, what the hell? But like in 10 years time, we'll see people like us now laughing at things 10 years ago or 5 years ago at the price point that they could have got Cardano. So the answer is, the proof is in the pudding in that sense, in the sense that Cardano will one day, I'm sure, flip Ethereum. I'm confident on that. Whether that's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, doesn't matter. The point is that you will look at this price and go, well, I was buying it at 13 cents. It's really expensive now. But that's, again, back to the original point of long-term versus short-term methodology in your head. $2 Cardano compared to 5-10 years time, trust me, it's going to be nothing. And we have already made the mistakes ourselves with that mentality, thinking, oh, it can't go much higher, or it's too expensive compared to when I was getting, I'm not going to get anymore. I've been doing the same similarly recently with VeChain. Like, I was buying VeChain at 1 cent, 2 cents. I think 10-12 cents is too expensive in my head. But actually, if we believe, as I do and you do, they will get to at least $1, well, what's the matter?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We saw in the mid part of the bull cycle, it got up to around 28 cents. The fact it's sitting at 12 cents something now, less than half that price.
Exactly.
You're at least going to double your money if
Yeah.
we go into an accelerated bull market in the next few months, and it becomes
Not financial advice.
much more pricey.
I think it's absolutely spot on, mate. You made some awesome points there. I guess, yeah, never too late at all. We consider ourselves early in comparison to 5 years' time. There will be people out there that have been doing this for 5-10 years that will consider themselves early. The fact of the matter is there is no early or late. It's a question of believing in the project, understanding the project, and making conclusions yourselves. Doing your own research is extremely important.
And we do believe as well that it will come to an end at some point, this bull run. It's not going to last forever.
Absolutely.
These prices aren't going to keep accelerating. We've already had quite a large dip in the middle of this. So we're not silly in saying that we're just going to hold it forever until it becomes an astronomical pile of cash. You have to be smart, and we will be doing an exit strategy video at some point, letting you know how we're going to take our gains and then reinvest them for the most part.
Absolutely. And Steve, if you could pick one right now, right, in your portfolio currently that you want to add to for the next run in 5 years, which one would you be picking?
For my portfolio that I want to add to for 5 years,
he's cheating now. He's going through all
I'm
the
looking.
prices.
I would say out of the fundamentals, XRP, I can't see past that being a top 3 coin in 5 to 10 years, maybe even a top 2 coin in that period of time. If I'm going to pick one that I might say will see the highest amount of percentage gains, maybe DSLA protocol.
Interesting.
I think that one, it's sitting at less than a cent right now. I think it's massively undervalued still, and that's definitely one that could see huge potential over the next sort of 5 to 10 years. And because it's so cheap, who cares what happens with it? Like you can stack up a huge amount of it with such a small amount of cash, and just let it do its thing.
Invest wisely, of course. Again, none of this financial advice or our opinion, but yeah, don't put in what you can't afford to lose. I hope I said that right and not the other way around. Get stung by a load of comments, I'm sure. But yeah, no, there's some great points there. DSLA, by the way, we'll probably do a video on next week. Get a bit of an intro on that one. But yeah, I think as well, wrapping this video up on that point that you've made about XRP with the fundamentals, the interoperability, what it stands for and what it will be in the world. There is an argument to say there's always talk about this bear market based on previous patterns. Now, there is an argument that I always stand by to say that some of these fundamentals might not go into a bear market because you've got things like Ripple doing what they're doing. We've seen obviously Zinfin and a couple of others like Chainlink, Polkadot, Ethereum, Bitcoin.
Chainlink actually rises sometimes during the bear market.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the prices will drop, I'm sure, of course, but these projects aren't going to stop. The news will not stop. And if things like CBDCs and all of these awesome ideas and projects come to light in the next 2 years, which I believe they will, especially CBDCs and things, who's to say that this will not stop for them? Let us know what you think in the comments. We're wrapping this up, guys.
It's a long one, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, me. And we'll see you on the moon in the next video. Thank you.